In this video, I will show you 10 traps in the Caro-Kann defense for white that you might have never seen before, and your opponent will easily fall for these traps. So let's move on to our first trap. After e4, c5, you go with this sneaky knight to e2. Black plays d5, and here you push this pawn forward. Bishop f5 is a common move, and then you go knight to d4, attacking the bishop. Bishop moves, and then you play e6. Capturing this pawn is not a good idea for black. Therefore, he goes c5, attacking your knight. And here we play bishop to b5 check. Knight blocks, and here you have to take this knight with your knight. And after black recaptures, you play bishop takes c6. Queen is forced to block, and then you recapture this queen with your pawns. King to d8, and then you capture this rook as well, and you are up 15 points of materials and completely winning. Let's move on to our next trap. After e4 c5, knight f3, black goes d5, and then here you play this tricky move d3. Black takes, and then you go knight to g5, hitting this pawn back. Black takes another pawn, and you recapture with the bishop. Then here, knight to f6 and h6 are the most common responses to black. Say black goes knight f6, then you can capture this f7 pawn with your knight, forking his queen and rook. And after king takes, you play bishop to g6 check and win the queen. And you are completely winning in just 8 moves. Let's move on to our next trap. After e4 c6, d4, d5, you go e5. Black goes c5, attacking your central pawn. You go c3, defending the center. Black goes knight to c6, putting more pressure on this pawn. And here you go knight to f3. Black playing bishop g4, pinning your knight to the queen. And here you go with this tricky move, b takes c5, enticing black to capture the e5 pawn. Black takes, as it also puts pressure on your knight. But here, you can shock your opponent with knight takes e5, sacrificing the queen. You don't have much of a choice, so bishop takes d1. Then you go bishop to b5 check. Queen is forced to block, and you capture his queen, and it's not over yet. You can capture his bishop, and after black goes something say f6, attacking your knight, you can go knight f7 check, and win the rook as well, and you are completely winning. Let's move on to our next trap. After d5, here you play f3. This is the fantasy variation. Black takes and you recapture. And here black goes e5. This is the best response for black. You play knight f3. Black takes this pawn. And here you go bishop to c4, targeting f7. Black goes knight f6. And here you go castle. Bishop c5 is a common move, preparing some sort of discovery. And here we play knight to g5, hitting this f7 pawn. Black castles here, and you shock him with knight takes f7. And after rook takes, we capture his rook. King takes f7, and then you play queen to h5 check. He cannot take because his knight is pinned to the king. So after king moves, you can capture his bishop, and you are up in next phase. Let's move on to our next trap. After black goes d5, you go with f3, d takes e4, and you recapture. Black goes e5, striking in the center. You go knight f3, bishop g4, pinch your knight to the queen. And here you go with this tricky bishop to c4, knight f6, and now you can capture this pawn on f7. King takes, and then you will play knight takes c5, forking his king and bishop. So after king moves, you can regain the bishop, and you are up 2 pawns. And after black exchanges this knight, the most common move here is queen takes d4, but this is a big blunder because of queen to e6 checkmate. Let's move on to our next trap. Here you play c4. This is the isolated pawn of attack. Black goes d5. You capture this pawn. Black takes, and then you go d4. If black takes, you can recapture with the bishop. Black goes knight to c6. You capture this pawn. Black takes with the queen, and then you go knight to f3. Bishop g4 is a common move here. Unique your knight to the queen, but then you go bishop to e2. And here black thinks that he can win a pawn after bishop takes. Bishop takes. He takes with the queen, but this is a big blunder because you can play bishop takes c6, removing the defender of this queen, and after whatever black does, you can win the queen easily. Let's move on to our next trap. After black goes d5, you play knight c3, d takes c4, knight takes e4, and black goes knight e7. This is the card for variation, preparing knight to f6. And here you go with this sneaky move, knight to g5. Black goes h6, kicking your knight. And here you go with this tricky move, knight to e6. And if your opponent does not take your knight and play queen to b6, then you can take his bishop. And if queen to a5 check, then you can lock with the bishop, and the queen will be forced to move there. But most of the players takes this knight, but this loses to queen to h5 check, g6, and then queen takes c6 as a check. Let's move on to our next trap. After e4 c5, you go knight f3, d5, you play knight to c3, black goes bishop to g4, pinning your knight to the queen. You go h3, black moves his bishop there, and here you play bishop to e2. Since this c6 square is blocked by the pawn, therefore black goes knight to a6. Here you can take this knight and damage his pawn structure, but there is a better move here. First you can capture this central pawn, and when black recaptures, you can play bishop to b5 check, and his king has no legal moves, so queen to d7 is forced, and then you can capture his queen and you are again in material. Let's move on to our next trap. After e4 c6, knight f3, d5, you are going to take this pawn. Black recaptures, and then you play knight to e5, centralizing your knight. Black goes knight to c6, offering a trend, but you go d4. Black goes bishop f5, and you play this tricky move with f3. Black goes knight takes d4, defending the bishop and also threatening a fourth on c2. But here, the only move which is winning for white is the shocking queen takes f5, sacrificing the queen. Black takes, and then you play bishop to b5 check. Black is forced to block in the queen, and then you can capture with the bishop. And after king moves, you can even capture his knight, and you are completely winning. Let's move on to our last pair. After e4, c6, d, knight f3, d5, knight c3 takes, and then you recapture. Black goes knight f6, offering to trade knights. But here, you go with this sneaky queen to e2, and here, more than 20,000 players go knight with a7, hoping that if you capture, he will recapture with his other knight, and their pawn structure will not be ruined. But this is a big blunder. Play knight to d6, which is a smothered checkmate. He cannot take win the pawn because it is pinned to him, and you win in 6 moves. I hope you enjoyed these chess traps, and if you want more chess traps like these, you can check out this left playlist. And if you want to learn some chess openings, then you can check out this right playlist. And if you don't want to miss more of these chess traps, then you can subscribe.